Francisco Tárrega is known as one of the most famous 19th century classical guitar composers that we have in our repertoire. He wrote so many wonderful virtuosic and very Spanish pieces, Recuerdos de la Alhambra, Capriccio Árabe, Danza Mora, very, very beautiful pieces heavily influenced by Spanish culture, Spanish folk music. So Tárrega is one of our wonderful resources as a composer. He also wrote a number of studies that, in my opinion, are very underperformed and underplayed. I recorded a number of them for my 2020 CD release, The Guitar Works of Francisco Tárrega. And I'd like to talk about the study in C major today. So the study in C major is a very, very interesting arpeggio study that's based around a bunch of very common chord shapes. The trick to this study is all in the right hand. So you can see in the right hand, we're going to go P, I, M, A, M, I, A, M, I, A, M, I. This is the arpeggio for the entire piece. The only trick for us is that we have to bring out that first string note with our A finger. So we do that by following through, going further back towards our palm with that free stroke. That way we can really emphasize that note without having to do a rest stroke, which would cut off the second string. So a great exercise is just to practice P, I, M, A, M, I, P, I, M. And the reason I'm getting that louder A sound is because I'm actually following through with that A finger further back into my hand. Once you've mastered this, then we can go and look at the piece and start to add the chord shapes. So we start out with our arpeggio pattern and a C major chord. P, I, M, A, M, I, A, M, I, A, M, I. The pattern repeats. The next chord shape, we have a low G. Our arpeggio stays the same for the entire piece. We get a melody note of a high A that you'll use your pinky for, that then moves to a G with your second finger, and then I use that same second finger to slide back to F natural at the first fret. So measure 3 is little trick. We do have to leave the G a little early, but there's so much going on we don't notice that that G has been dropped. Measure 4. We go back to our C chord. Measure 5. We go to an E7 chord. We plant a bar at the 5th fret for an A minor chord. High C. D7. Resolving to G. The first half played slowly. This would all repeat, and then we go on to the second half. So the second half starts out in G. We have what looks like a nice G7 chord, that then we add the pinky for high G on the next melody note. We resolve to a C chord. To get the next melody note, we lay our first finger down as a bar across strings 1 and 2. The C on the second string remains accompaniment, but now the melody is that F on the first string. That then resolves in the next chord, going back to open E. So we have next chord, B7. A nice E minor open chord, adding the F sharp, F major. We're going to bar across all 6 strings at our second finger on the 3rd string A. G is the next melody. The next chord is a C chord with a G in the bass. And we'll do that same trick where we allow the 1st finger to bar to catch the 1st string for the 2nd melody note. And then a repeat of the G bass with the high A that moves to the G, that moves to the F. Resolving on C. The entire second half. A charming study that really does help us to work on this P-I-M-A-M-I arpeggio with a melody note on the A finger so that we can practice bringing that out. Some very interesting harmonies, but chord progressions, chords that we already are familiar with and that make it easy for the left hand so that we can really focus on bringing out that A finger and the right hand melody.